We need coffee music.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for waiting, and particularly those online. Thanks for waiting. As often happens at the CND, the formal session downstairs has run over slightly. So we were just waiting to see if a few more people made their way up to the 7th floor. But thank you very much for those who are here, and also thank you for those who have joined online. So welcome to the Vienna NGO Committee informal meeting. We haven't done one of these for a while. But it's just a good opportunity for us all to kind of catch up together. I think we have some slides, Sarah, if we can put the slides up, and that will that's really there to guide us through the things we want to talk about. But I think the crucial things are that because we're online, the meeting is being recorded, just in case other people want to catch up with things later. So yeah, I hope that's okay with everybody, and we'll put that recording up on the VNGOC website as well. We don't have translation or anything for this meeting, but we do really encourage. We want to hear from you. I mean, it's intended to be a meeting for the members. There's a handful of us here in Vienna this week, but particularly from those online, please do just put your hands up, or let us know if you want to take the floor at any point. We want to keep it informal. That goes for everyone in the room as well. Just let us know if you want to come in at any point. Yeah, we'll just get through the agenda that way, and there will be time at the end as well if there's other things people want to raise. But what I would say, particularly for those online, if you're not speaking, please do keep your microphones on mute. We had a kind of hilarious moment at the CND earlier where someone was sneezing while someone else was trying to present, which was kind of bizarre. Okay, so yeah, so if you just go to the next slide, that's just to let you know the logistics. So what we're going to do is the board. I mean, but one thing I will say really quickly is that obviously we're here in Vienna because the thematic intersessional has taken place yesterday and today. It's been very interesting. It's been very well attended. The room was full yesterday and is almost full today. So that kind of, for me, that's a good indication that the CND in March will be back to normal, in terms of numbers. And I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to that. But also because the intersessional was taking place, the VNGOC board managed to take Tuesday. We had an all-day face-to-face board meeting. The first time we've been able to do that as a board since 2019, for obvious reasons. So that was a really good opportunity, and I can update you as we go through today with some of the things that we discussed and some of the things that we want to discuss with you. So before we start though, let's just, we wanted to really quickly give you a summary of what we've been up to since we last spoke in March. The Deputy Chair, Matej, is going to just quickly take you through a few slides and yeah, just update you on what we've been doing as a board. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Jamie, and welcome everybody at the meeting. As you can imagine, we have been quite busy also this year, despite the fact that at least some period of this year was still affected by pandemic and lack of in-person meetings and events. But we organized 3 webinars in January, February, and April. We also organized informal members meeting in February, preparing for the 65th CND. And also we presented Asia Pacific Common Position this year as well. And we were also busy, at least some of us also in person in Vienna during the 65th CND in March. And we actually presented 2 Vienna NGO committees statements. We were involved as co-sponsors or sponsors of 9 side events. We conducted also 4 informal dialogues. We also organized annual general assembly, mostly online. Only a few of us were here, as I already said. And we also coordinated some of civil society statements. In spring, in May, we organized INCB civil society hearing. So civil society hearing on the trends to legalize the non-medical use of drugs. This was the topic of the hearing. In June, just a moment, I have a little bit, you know, I cannot see the slides on the printed paper, so I have a little bit.
Yeah, that should come up. Yeah, you just press, I think it's, yeah, the top one should come up.
But it's okay,
No, okay.
I made some print screens, bigger letters. I'm almost blind, small letters. Okay, yeah, then we also organized CND event. So we were present, not organized, but present at the CND event on June 26th, and the World Drug Day. We presented statement, and 3 selected speakers from civil society also presented their statements at the launch of World Drug Report. In July, we organized a webinar on World Drug Report in 4 different languages, and discussion was quite fruitful during the webinar about World Drug Report. Okay, the next. We are also here yesterday and today during the thematic intersessional meeting, and we selected prior to the thematic intersessional meeting 10 civil society speakers, and all of them were and will be able to present their statements during the meeting. So this is the report from about the activities. So you can see that we were quite busy, and the year is not over yet.
Cool. Thanks so much, Matej. So yeah, so as Matej says, we've been working on a lot of different things since we last spoke in March. And just to say that we also have Heloisa and Trixie here from the board as well. And Penny Hill and Azia from the board send their apologies. Penny's in another meeting today with her with the Australian delegation, and Azia had to travel back today. So they send their apologies, but we were all here, which was lovely. It was really lovely to have the whole board together and have some real time together. So that was much appreciated. Okay, so I don't know if should we go straight to the updates? Mirella, do you want to give us from the civil society unit? We're joined by Mirella and Billy for those who are online and can't see. So over to you, Mirella, and to an update from your side. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And it's really good to be here back in person, speaking at the Vienna NGO committee informal meeting. Yes, as you said, there were many activities that we have done jointly in the course of the year. One is certainly, which was a joint effort of the Vienna NGO Committee and the Alliance on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. And this was the Africa Civil Society Conference on Drugs and Crime, which brought together over 100 civil society representatives from across Africa to discuss crime and drug prevention issues among youth in particular. And I don't know if our George from the Slum Foundation in Kenya is online, but he was behind this initiative. We have also organized 4 joint webinars in 2022, and one on access to medicine, the World Drug Report, and how to effectively engage in this at the CND. The webinar are a bit something that we have started because of the COVID period, and I think they are successful, so we decided to continue. It's good to also use this possibility to have online and reach out to people who would not or don't have the possibility to come in person. We have also participation facilitated, obviously, with you the participation of NGO during the last CND, and especially I think we continue to provide to the Vienna NGO Committee a really important support. I saw that Masha didn't mention Sarah, but Sarah is now full staff, full staff. It's a UN volunteer within the civil society unit. So she is entirely part of the team, has a UN badge. So yes, we kind of have her skills and support both between the Vienna NGO Committee and the civil society unit. And the NGO Marketplace, which has been this platform where we continue to encourage all NGOs, members or non-members to join, is received an update, which will soon be online. We have now, at the moment, more than 460 registered NGOs. And of course, we are starting to get ready to the 66th session of the CND. So next year is an important one because it will be preparing for the 2024 midterm review. And we have to see how member states plan to conduct this review and what we can, how civil society can also contribute to it. And also it will be an important anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the Vienna NGO Committee. So we have started thinking together about how we could really highlight and give visibility to the committee in this occasion. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks so much, Mirella, for the update. And again, just to say, I know there's lots going on in the chat, which we're trying to keep an eye on as we talk. But do let us know if you have any questions at any point, anything that Matej or Mirella have presented. This is, always an opportunity for you guys as members to ask us as the board, what are we doing, why are we doing it, and stuff like that. So please do let us know. Okay, so if we pop to the next slide. So just a reminder, I don't know, Sarah, do you want to say a few words on this, or shall I?
I'm happy to say a few words. I think Mirella already mentioned it. Maybe just to add that very recently we had a new update of the NGO Marketplace, and very happy to report that there's now the integrated search function can now search for any word or phrase among all the posts on the NGO marketplace. So that's going to be super helpful going forward. And I think otherwise, Mirella said it all. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. And yeah, I mean, the marketplace, it's great to see it being used. I'm sure, like most of you, I get the update every Monday of like the posts that have come on in the last few days. So it's great to see partners using it. Thanks for everyone who is engaging with it. And we say it every time, if you're on this call and you haven't yet registered for the marketplace, please do. It's a really important place to be, so we can all share each other's news and successes and reports and resources and events and things like that. So, I think, as Mirella said as well, between the marketplace and the webinars, those have really helped us to adapt to the fact that we haven't been seeing everyone in person for the last few years. And I think, yeah, as Mirella said, with the webinars, that's something we will look to continue, because these things allow us to reach even more people than we ever could before. And particularly in different languages and stuff like that. So, and also, if you have any feedback on the marketplace, we would love to hear it as well, because it's a resource that we're always looking to, improve and kind of build as we go. So quickly looking towards the next few months and really looking at towards the remainder of the year. We're obviously, as Matej says, we're here for the intersessional, so that the last day of that is today. But CND then has a special event taking place on the 10th of October here in Vienna, which is dedicated to the topic of access to medicines. It's an event that's being hosted, especially by the CND chair, Ambassador de Hoop from Belgium. And this has been a really priority issue, hasn't it, Eloisa, for his term as the CND chair. So that will be October 10th. My understanding is that there will be civil society speakers during that event, but they've already been selected from within the palliative care movement. And that event will be webcast and available in all the usual ways. So I would really encourage people to watch that and engage with that. We are then hoping before the end of the year to do some more webinars and some more work with UNODC around their synthetic drug strategy. We actually had a meeting with the UNODC staff involved immediately after this, but we hope to share a bit more information about that soon. But the drug strategy was already launched and presented to the CND, but we've been in ongoing discussions about what role can civil society play. How can we play a role in making sure that that strategy is a success? And then towards the end of the year in December, the CND will come back for the reconvened. The dates have been confirmed as the 8th and 9th of December, and that will again be here in Vienna. But worth noting, the sister commission to the CND, the Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, the CCPCJ, they have their thematic intersessional also in that week in December. So the 5th and the 6th and the 7th of December will be their thematic, and they're going to have thematic days talking about how to support victims of crime, how to ensure better prison conditions, and then a day on the gender aspects of crime prevention. So I think they're topics that a lot of our members will also be interested in. Just like with the CND, there is an opportunity for civil society to speak. But that is not coordinated by the Vienna NGO committee. It's coordinated by our sister, the NGO Alliance. So as soon as we find out any details about that opportunity, we will share it with all of our members immediately, just like they do when there's an opportunity that we have as well. And, we are continuing to work very closely with the other NGO committees in that way. Okay, next slide. And obviously the big date, we were a bit nervous about whether to actually put some dates on this slide or not, but we understand that the CND is going to be from the 13th to the 17th of March, 2023. It is tentative, that should have a capital T, because it is very tentative. It hasn't been formally announced yet. So we wanted to share the dates because we know it's important for people's planning, but I really would urge you not to book non-refundable flights yet until an official announcement is made. Normally, we find out officially around December time at the reconvened. But we understand that it is going to be the 13th to 17th of March next year. And as I said, we're hoping that it will be a full, there will be elements of hybrid. It will be a hybrid meeting. I think all future CNDs will likely have those elements. But I think in terms of numbers here in Vienna, it will be back to something like it was, prior to the pandemic. That's what we're hoping anyway. So as VNGOC, we had some great discussions as the board, starting to plan for this. We will hold our usual Q&As, our usual informal dialogues with all of the key people here in Vienna. So the Executive Director of UNODC, Ms. Gardawali, the CND Chair. We don't actually 100% know who the CND Chair will be. The Vice Chair at the moment is Colombia. But whoever the Chair is, we will organise that meeting with them. The President of INCB. And then we also will try again to have a dialogue with the World Health Organization if they have a delegation here in Vienna, which I hope they will. But I would also, for some of you on the call might remember, the idea of having a dialogue with WHO actually came from one of these meetings. I think it was actually Kenzie that recommended it in one of these meetings a few years ago. So we are very open-minded. If there's other informal dialogues that you would like us to try and organize, increasingly the CND is now attended by lots of different UN agencies, not just those that are based in Vienna. So we are very open to suggestions. And one of the suggestions that might be that we actually have one combined dialogue that is for other UN agencies. Whichever ones might be here. So World Health Organization, UNAIDS, OHCHR, whoever else might have a presence. So yeah, we're very interested in your thoughts on that. But also it all depends on availability. So we will try our best to organize those during the CND week. We'll also have our AGM. And again, our hope is that will be a in-person AGM, as it used to be with the elections and things like that. And obviously that includes the election for a new chair, because I'm currently in my final term as the VNGOC chair. So I'll be stepping down in March, and as the membership, you will be electing a new chair. So that will be a key meeting for all of you, I hope. And as Mirella said, in 2023, the Vienna NGO Committee will be having its 40th birthday. We were born in 1983, and we will be organizing a series of events, a series of things to celebrate that with you all, but also to look forward, to not just think about the last 40 years, but look forward to the next 40 as well. But I hope you will join us for a lot of those, because it's not every day that you get to celebrate that kind of birthday with an NGO. So we're very proud to have that history. And we'll be also using the CND as a moment to remind the member states of that history and the fact that we have been part of the CND for longer than most of them have been involved in this sector, So I think it's a really important moment for us as a VNGOC. And we had some really good discussions as a board about some of the things. I'll tease a little bit, but I'm not going to tell you yet, because we'll let you know as soon as we manage to confirm some of our plans. But again, very open to any ideas you may have. If you have ideas of how an NGO can celebrate its 40th birthday, we are very open to any suggestions that you may have. And the other thing that's not on this slide, but again, it's something that we did before the pandemic. For those of you who were there and you might remember, we organized a session that we called Finding Common Ground. And the idea was to actually allow a bit more space for some real quality discussion and real quality debate on a topic, but just civil society. And in the first year, so did we do this in 2020 or 2019 can you remember? I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020, but when we first did it, the first one we dedicated to the topic of prevention, and Matej gave the kind of opening remarks, and then we had fantastic discussion about prevention, and there were people in the room from the prevention sector, but also crucially people in the room from other sectors who wanted to know more, ask questions, really interrogate the issue. And I think it was a really successful, it was 2020. So I think that was a really successful, we really wanted to carry that on, but the pandemic prevented that, because that's the kind of discussion you can't do on Teams or Zoom. You really need to be there in person. So now we're really hoping that at the next CND we can have another one of those dialogues. And what we're suggesting as a board is that we'd actually like to use the topic of harm reduction and do the same thing and have a really, really open, interesting, respectful, constructive conversation about harm reduction and really discuss some of the, the concerns that people may have or the challenges that people may have, and really talk, really go into detail on that topic. So we're working on that, and we'll obviously let you know when we know more. And again, please do let us know if you have any other questions about the CND, but there's not a lot else we can really tell you at this stage. We will definitely have a meeting, another members meeting, either December, but maybe early in the new year, when we know a bit more information, and then we can let you know all about our plans for the CND. Okay. Sarah, if you go to the next slide, please. So yeah, just in terms of another quick update, the membership of the Vienna NGO committee continues to grow, which is, one of the most important metrics, I think, in many ways for us as a board. We are always receiving new applications from all around the world, which is really good, really reassuring. So we currently have around 350 members from 96 different countries. And my main take home from the graph that you can see on the slide, or hopefully see on the slide, is that we've really begun to balance this out a lot more. I think for some of you who might remember, a few years ago when we looked at this graph, we saw that there was a real lack of membership and a real lack of engagement from Africa and from Asia. So we created these working groups to try and help us to address that and to make the VNGOC more appealing and more open to those regions. And I think you can see here in the numbers that that's had a really positive impact. And, I think it's fair to say most of the new membership applications we've had have been from those regions and from outside Europe. And the other thing I would say is when you look at the European column here, that does include a lot of organizations that are actually more international in their reach, World Federation Against Drugs, IDPC, WTFC, others like this. So yeah, just worth bearing that in mind. But that's just to give you a sense of the scale of the network and the group of NGOs that we represent. And the good news is that we have new members who have joined as well since March. So if you just pop to the next slide. I'm not going to read them all out because you'll all be able to read them, and I will probably do a really bad job of pronouncing them all. So I'll save myself the embarrassment. But yeah, we very much welcome these new members from around the world. You can see there are lots of different regions represented. And actually there's a few more as the board, because we had a whole day together. We went through some of the new applications as well, and Sarah will be communicating with them this, in the coming days to let them know that we've accepted their applications as well. So again, it's a constantly growing network, which is a very positive thing. We welcome those new partners on board. Next slide, Sarah. So the other thing we talked about as a board is the membership fees. Just as a reminder to you all, these are the current membership fees for 2022. And this follows the same structure that we've had for a number of years now. And this is up here as a reminder in the way, if you haven't already paid your fees for 2022, please do so, because remember, to be in good standing in order to vote next year, you have to have paid your fee for 2022 and 2023. Okay, so please do pay your 2022 fees if you haven't already. And if you don't have to pay a fee, if you fit into category A on the slide, you do still need to fill in the commitment form. It's just our way of checking that you are still there and check that you're still engaged and that you're still interested in the work of the committee. As a board, we did talk about these fees as well, because there have been things, changes in some of our costs, but also changes in exchange rates and things like this. But the biggest change that we've had as a board as a membership over the last 3 or 4 years is that back in 2017, the percentage of the VNGOC members who fitted under category A, the ones who have a budget income of less than 10,000 euros per year, that was a big minority. It was I think below 10% of our membership fitted under that category. And we created that category because we didn't want to be creating a financial barrier to anyone being part of this network. What has happened in the years since, and we've discussed this as a board, is when you look at the spread of our membership now, actually slightly more than 50% of the membership is now category A, which means they are not paying a fee. And that obviously has implications from a governance point of view, but also, you know, to put it bluntly, from a financial point of view, because the membership income is the income that VNGOC receives every year. So what we will be coming to the AGM in March with a proposal to adjust these membership fees. We're not looking to increase B, C, and D, but we are looking to introduce a minimal fee under A, in order to address the fact that the demographic of the network has changed so dramatically since 2017. And the other thing I wanted to emphasize here, and actually I don't think I fully realized it before we had the board meeting on Tuesday, we also want to start really encouraging people wherever possible to make their payments via PayPal, because as any of you who have been to the AGMs in the past and you see the financial report at the AGM, there's always one line in that AGM, which is bank fees. And it is always quite a substantial line, but always gets people a bit surprised. And I think every year we've had questions of, why are you paying that much in fees? And we can't do anything to negotiate those fees themselves, but processing more and more memberships through PayPal will help us to reduce those fees, because we don't face that with PayPal. So we are going to be trying to really proactively encourage members to use PayPal where they can in the future. At the moment, I think out of all the members in good standing, kind of less than 10% use PayPal. And I think even if we were to get that to half, you'd see a huge reduction in our annual bank fees, which would be a huge help. It would basically mean we have more money as a committee to do good stuff, not just to be paying the Austria Bank, you know, for their time. So that's something that, again, I think we will have time to discuss it today if there's any comments or suggestions or thoughts. It's something that the board will propose, but it's ultimately up to the membership to decide. It's very, very much your decision. We don't make decisions at informal meetings, so the AGM is the right place to have that conversation. And then those, if we do adopt new membership fees, those would then come into place from 2024 onwards. Yeah. So that's where we stay. It was an interesting conversation as a board, and, you know, a big challenge that we have kind of witnessed over the last few years. And again, in many ways, it's a positive thing, because it means new organizations have come on board and we've seen this network grow. But then it does also pose some challenges as well. So I'm happy to take, I don't know if anyone has any questions or any thoughts on this particular issue. I know it's might be a difficult one for some people. No one's got their hands up online or anything? No? Okay. Like I say, plenty of time to discuss this more. So it was just wanted to flag it now as something the board discussed. So if we pop to the next slide, Sarah, thank you. One of the things we have going on at the moment, up until the 1st of October, is we are asking for your feedback on the elections. If you recall from the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, we have shifted to an online platform to do the elections. And we really want to hear from people about your experience with that. We have not yet heard from anyone who was unable to participate, who wanted to vote and couldn't because of the online platform. If you do fit that description, please let us know, because we really want to make sure that everything we do is as inclusive as possible. We really want to make sure no one is being left out of this. But yeah, so please do have a look at that survey. And it's also, you know, because the elections in March this year, not only were they online, but they were also the first ones where the nominations committee recommended a slate. That was another new initiative. We'd love to hear your feedback on that as well. And this is the survey to let us know. Yeah. You know, I think we always said that we would continue to review that, continue to assess it and see if it works. So yeah, please do give us your feedback if possible. It's our expectation, all being well, touch wood in front of me, all being well, we really hope that we'll have enough of us at the CND in 2023 to go back to doing the elections at the AGM in the traditional way. That really is our hope. So that, yeah, and let's hope nothing stands in the way of us doing that between now and March. Okay, next slide, Sarah. Thank you. So the other thing we've been working on a lot is these working groups. I mentioned them earlier. When we noticed we had relatively low engagement from Africa and Asia, we created these working groups. And just in terms of an update on their work, the Africa working group created an African civil society common position, which has been signed on to by dozens and dozens of NGOs across Africa and has been presented and launched here at the CND, which is fantastic. It's also in the last year, earlier this year, that common position was also presented to the African Union in their meeting on drugs, and has since been adopted and endorsed by the ministers of drugs from the African Union. So that's really positive, and that was something they did completely of their own initiative. And the African Union have also adopted a recommendation to create a civil society mechanism on drugs to engage at the African Union level. So Vienna NGO Committee will continue to support the African members in that discussion and with whatever technical support they ask us for, basically. So that's been a really positive experience, and more members have also joined from the region. The Asia working group, it's a shame that Penny and I don't think any other members of the working group are here. There's actually 3 or 4 of them in Vienna, 4 of them in Vienna at the moment, which is great. And Augusto is actually going to be presenting this afternoon to the CND about the Asia common position, which they have also developed and launched. And again, really positive development. And that working group is still very active. They have a work plan now. They have a calendar of different events that they're looking to promote their common position at. And again, I think it's really helped to improve the engagement of that group in the CND and certainly in the VNGOC. So I think really reflecting on both of those working groups, it's been a very positive experience. So with that in mind, we have also started work on a Latin America working group. With the same kind of intentions in mind, because now the African and Asian membership has gone up, Latin America is now the region that is the least represented. So, Heloisa, I don't know if you want to say a few words about where we are with that and what comes next.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. Hello, everyone. Yeah, we are now preparing to kick off our work soon. Probably in October, we will have the first meeting. And I would like to invite Latin American NGOs to be part of this discussion. We have already launched an invitation, and we have 20 members interested in participating. So we hope we can do some good work in that sense.
Thanks, Heloisa. And yeah, I mean, I think so. The next step for that is that working group is going to have their first call, hopefully soon, and get started with that work. And we'll let the working group decide whether they also want to develop a common position or whether they want to do other activities. That's, we really leave it to them to decide. So yeah, so the working groups has been very positive, and with that Latin America working group as well, we're doing that in collaboration with the New York NGO Committee as well, because they have much better representation from that region in terms of their membership. Okay, I don't see any questions, although Sarah, do let me know if anything comes up question-wise that we need to, yeah, okay, thank you. So if we pop to the next slide, we're nearly there. So just to let you know how we've been getting on with speaker selection, I know for many of you, this is the main kind of engagement that you have with the VNGOC. And once again, we've had brilliant responses to all the calls for speakers that we've been able to put out this year. So far in 2022, including this week at the CND, We've been able to select 28 speakers. So we've been able to secure the space for 28 speakers to discuss their work and present their work at this level, of which four of those speakers have been able to do so in person. That's mainly this month, because obviously that wasn't really that possible beforehand. But it has been great to see, to see people again, properly see people here in Vienna. It's been very, very welcome. You'll see the regional split, which is I think we're pretty comfortable with that as a year's selection so far. And the gender split, we've actually selected more women than men so far this year, which again is we're kind of very comfortable with. And those 28 speakers so far have come from 19 different countries and every region of the world as well. So again, as you all know, we follow the speaker selection guidelines. The speaker selection is, I think it's fair to say, I'm looking at my board members, it's the hardest part of being on this board. It is really, really difficult to do. And we know that some really great speakers don't get in sometimes. We're fully aware of that. I wish it was simpler, but it's not. It's a very difficult thing to do. We do really appreciate everyone who submits their abstracts. We do really appreciate everyone who has intervened and spoken. And we hope that everyone does continue to give a really strong response. Because, when we get a strong response to those opportunities to speak, it shows the need, it shows the demand. And that's something that we as the Vienna NGO committee can then take to UNODC and the CND and the member states to really demonstrate that there is such a large number of NGOs out there that want to speak, that want to be part of these debates in Vienna. So it's really positive. Next slide, Sarah. So that is it. That's kind of an update from our side as the board. I don't know if I'm looking at fellow board members if we've left anything off or if there's anything else you want to add. No. So any questions or anything else? I mean, this is a members meeting. So, please, if there's anything else that you want to kind of bring to the floor or discuss or even promote or just let other members know about, this is the moment to do so. Sarah? Who's got their hand up, sorry? Oh, Roisin. Yep, Roisin, over to you. Can you unmute and take the floor?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Perfect. I wanted to bring up kind of an idea about potentially having a youth working group or something to look at doing a youth common position or something in that space, given that there's going to be this youth consultation with UNODC and the new UN Youth Office was passed by resolution a few weeks ago. It would be interesting to see if we could kind of get some collaboration across the youth organizations as well, given that we have Trixie on the VNGOC. I think it might be a nice time for that. I don't know what the process is for looking at working groups within the VNGOC, so maybe people can enlighten me.
Well, I think, Roisin, this is the exact process. We get a suggestion and we follow it through. I mean, I really like the idea. I think it's something, if I'm not mistaken, it's something that also came up at the CND in March in one of the informal dialogues around youth engagement and how that can be better kind of coordinated. And there's lots of different elements. As you say, Roisin, there's the new youth office at the United Nations, that's just been agreed by the General Assembly. There's the youth forum here at CND that we often hear presenting in the opening sessions. There's also, I believe, like a Vienna NGO committee on youth, I think. Is there, Sarah?
Yes, there is, but they haven't been super active in the past year.
Okay, but there's others. Yeah, okay. So I think, Roisin, we welcome the idea, and I see Trixie nodding at me as well. So yeah, we will take that on as a board, and I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm very supportive of it. So thank you very much, Roisin.
Thank you.
Billy, did you want to say something on that? And then I see that we've got Jenna and yeah, we've got some other hands up. So Billy.
And thanks so much, Jim. No, I just wanted to comment on that suggestion, which is a very good one and very timely for us at UNODC, because as Roisin just mentioned, on the 13th of October, we are holding a youth consultation And the idea is this one, we have a little bit of a focus on organized crime because it's taking place just before the conference of the parties to the UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime. That's the only reason why it will have a particular focus on organized crime. But in general, we are starting a process to listening to youth and to collecting their ideas and perspectives as to how we can better work with them and how we can better serve them and take all their inputs and suggestions on board as we take the process of developing a more, let's say, coordinated engagement with youth within UNODC as a whole. So, of course, we're bringing together our colleagues who are hosting the Youth Forum in the margins of the CND, and we will take all that into account. So, I just wanted to encourage, if there's that youth part of the Vienna NGOC, I would like to encourage them to provide, and Sarah would be able to provide a link to that, also to contribute to this youth consultation on the 13th of October, because we have, in addition to those who will be participating, which is a smaller number, we received about 200 applications. We cannot have every one of them there. But those who would not be able to participate because of the limitation of numbers, and those who have simply not come across that opportunity, we have a survey to collect inputs that would feed into the process moving forward, so that can be shared with them, and everyone can give us those ideas and contributions, and we would then take them into account as we develop this process further.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Billy. So that working group, the youth working group, the deadline for the applications has passed, hasn't it? We did share it with all our VNGOC members and channels and stuff. So yeah, but I think the survey is definitely something we could promote widely, and then yeah, have this conversation about a working group here and how we link everything together, including with the other committee and any other work that might be going on as well. So yeah, no, all sounds really, really positive. I think it's a great idea. Okay, so the next hand I see up is Bojana. So can you unmute and take the floor?
Thank you very much for leading the meeting very well. I was just wondering whether in the near future we could consider having the regional working groups, come together informally and share their work, so that we can build strength from each other and see how we can learn from what each of the groups are doing, each of the working groups are doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's another great suggestion. We've often tried to organize side events, like each of those regional groups has organized side events where they try to showcase their work at the CND. So I think the Asia Working Group had a side event in March, for example. So we'll keep promoting that as well. But just for example, I think the plan is when the Latin America Working Group has their first call, we're going to have representatives from the Africa Working Group join that call to share their experiences and how they went about things. So but yeah, no, I think it's a good suggestion, and we'll explore the different ways that we can do that. It could even be, a future webinar topic, or maybe looking at the CND, whether we can have, that opportunity at the CND for each of those working groups to talk about the work they've done, represent the common position, and do that engagement and that work. Yeah, thank you very much. That's a great suggestion. So the next hand I see up is from, it says the Empower Sankar. So can you unmute?
Hi, good evening to all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Nice to see you all. Today, and also I have sent stating that I am interested to join in ASEAN working group, and I will send the mail for the same. Thanks to see you all. Bye.
Thank you so much. Yep, and we'll make sure that we've got that message, that mail, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for flagging it. And then I have another hand raised. Where are we? My eyesight's awful. Oh yeah, Penny Bassi. So over to you. Can you, if you're able to unmute, please take the floor.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm Rekene Bassi from African Council on Narcotics, Nigeria. So you made mention of the African Working Group. So I want to know, how can we join this working group for effective collaboration with all other partners, so we can know what is actually going on, what they do, and how we can actually share information within ourselves so as to actually achieve the mandate of the commission. So that's what I want to ask you.
Okay, thank you. And so, yeah, the Africa Working Group Civil Society Common Position is available online. And maybe Sarah, if it's possible, can add a link in the chat or something for you. If not, we can definitely follow up after and share it. So that is available online. And in terms of the working group and the next steps of the working group, especially now that it's looking to create something with the Africa Union, if you just want to send a message to us at VNGOC, we will immediately connect you with our colleagues working in that group. And we'd be very happy to have you as part of those discussions for sure. And I hope when you look at the common position, I think the link is going in there now for you. So when you look at that common position, I really hope it's something that you can also support, because all of those common positions are there and they're open and they're for people to sign up to and to show their support for. So please do have a look at it. And then for the working group, if you just send a message to info@vngoc.org, then we will follow up and connect you with that group. Yeah, and obviously that goes for anyone on the call. And whether you want to join the Africa group, the Asia group, the Latin America group, or the youth group, do just let us know and we'll connect things together. Heloisa, did you want to say?
I just forgot to say that the discussions on for the Latin American Working Group will be held in Spanish and in Portuguese. So, and then if we decide for a common position, it will be translated in both languages.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot to mention that as well. Thanks, Heloisa. Okay, so I can't see any other hands raised. I don't know, Sarah, were there any other comments in the chat? Or more importantly, I don't mean to keep neglecting everyone in the room. Any comments from the room either? No? The difficulty, but it's so hard to keep attention on both things. Okay, well, just to say then, on behalf of the board, thank you so much for joining us. I hope it's been useful. All the links and materials and slides, we'll put everything on our website, just like we always do. And yeah, if you have any questions or any suggestions or ideas or comments or anything, that's what we're here for as the board. So please do get in touch. We do really want to hear from you as our membership. And all being well, hopefully see most of you in March at the CND. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining today. Cheers.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Cheers everyone.
Danke.
Au revoir, à très bientôt. Merci à vous.
Ja, genau.
Excellent. Bye.